I think I should start by saying that I started making circles primarily as an experiment to find out what's humanly possible. What can be done in a field within 4 hours with 3 other people. And I think quite quickly it becomes compulsive, and you see people's reactions to what you do, and they're very unexpected reactions. People claim to be healed in our formations. People claim to have spiritual experiences in our formations. I think hoaxers, or should we call them circle makers, are very misunderstood. People say that it couldn't possibly be made by people because they wouldn't bother to go to that extent to do something that extreme or that complex. And that's completely the wrong way around. Of course we do. We go to the kind of the nth degree, to the most extreme amounts. I mean, the kind of formations that you're seeing appearing now in the fields are way out on the kind of far end of what's humanly possible. The triple arm spiral that appeared in 1996 at Windmill Hill was, I think, if you measure the diameter along the curve, is 1,000 foot across. And when you have those kind of formations appearing in fields just within one night, people think that can't be made by people. But they can be made by people. I mean, basically, they are made by people. And part of the reason why you go to so much trouble is to kind of take it to something which is seemingly beyond human endeavour. So people go out to the fields, or they see it in the press, and they say, my God, this is amazing, it could not be done by people. But the motivations of the circle makers are to actually push it as far as possible, so people think that it can't be made by people. But of course they're made by people. What's the point? I guess for us, for our team, for me personally, we're artists, and the circles we make are our artwork. That's the point. What's the point of art? We'd never played a joke on anybody. We'd never rug pulled anybody. Our team, the kind of agenda that we have is not to make a formation, have someone rush in and go, all this down as well, it's genuine. And then for us to come out and say, oh no, here's all the evidence, we took some photographs and here's some time lapse of us making it. We've never done that. I mean, that was kind of an agenda for circle makers who kind of predated us. We just have a very separate agenda, which is to, as far as possible, disassociate ourselves from the specific formations. We've never actually specifically claimed a formation, and we never will, because the whole point and the whole power of our work is gained from the fact that they are authorless. As soon as you claim a formation, you kill it. We've never personally made any money out of the formations, but for us, it's a hobby. It's not our profession. Someone like Colin Andrews, he makes his living off of it, and good luck to him. He's very good at what he does, and in what he does, he supports what we do. He's basically acts as an agent for our work. So fine, he's getting payment for that job. I think we crave publicity for our formations. I don't think we personally crave publicity. Sure, we all have egos, and sure, it's quite nice to sit in front of a camera. But no, I crave publicity for my formations, not for me personally. For us, though, it's kind of important, I think, to actually, because we're artists, to talk about that agenda and to try and kind of push forward the debate about crop circles and bring that kind of area into it. And to a certain extent, we have to go in front of cameras and talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it. I certainly don't crave publicity, no. I was basically, when I started circle making, my intention was always to remain completely anonymous. But to a certain extent, I was outed by George Wingfield. And once that happened, you can't really put the rabbit back in the hat. And so we decided just to kind of go with it and use it to advantage, basically. We can talk as circle makers, but we don't have to claim specific formations, so we don't take any power away from the phenomenon. And maybe we can just kind of like throw out some interesting arguments and push, just push it forward. Sure, we all have a little snicker now and then. No, I enjoy reading. I enjoy reading people talking about the formations, like when broadsheet journalists go into formations, like I did this year. For instance, the cock fractal, the one at Silbury Hill and the one at Milk Hill, the second cock fractal. And when they go in there and they say these things could not be made by people, you know, we get a kick out of that. So if the kind of residual belief in the circles kind of drops away, then the phenomenon dies, and we all lose. Both sides lose. Like I said before, that it's a symbiotic relationship. You know, we need them, and they need us. And although bizarrely never the twain shall meet, we need each other. And the truth is out there. I mean, you know, we're sitting here and I'm talking quite candidly about what I do, but you'll believe what you believe. You believe, if you want to say that I work for the government, you'll believe that. If you believe I'm an artist, you'll believe that. Whatever. I don't have a problem with each to their own. I mean, sure, we worry about it, but we're extremely careful. It's not to say that it won't happen, and I'm sure one day it will happen. It has happened before. Outside of this country, it happened in Hungary. I think some skeptics were actually caught making a formation, and I think they were taken to court as well. And I think they ended up paying the equivalent of £28 for damage to the crop, but it wasn't a particularly spectacular formation. But yeah, we worry about being caught. We're very careful, and if we get caught, it's a fair cop. It's interesting, actually. Over the past couple of years, there's been a kind of a bit of a sea change. Well, I'll go back. Before, yes, we have had trouble. We've had hang-up phone calls. We've had threatening mail. There have been attacks physically on some circle makers, not myself, and on their property. So yes, you know, there is a certain risk in doing what we do. I actually have, if you want me to show you, some of the threatening letters that we've actually received. Absolutely, yes, on several occasions. I myself have had a series back in 1994. There was 3 occasions towards the end of the season where I myself, the other circle makers, were seeing flashes of light, balls of light, kind of that were moving and crackling. More recently this year, we were out circle making in Wiltshire and saw an amazing kind of like burst of light and then a column of light. Spectacular. No sound. Completely silent. I haven't really seen like a 50-foot craft with like grey aliens hanging outside of it, but we've seen some pretty weird shit while we've been out there in the fields. Yeah. On several occasions, there's been times when we've drawn diagrams and the formations have appeared in the field before we got there to make it. Certain weird synchronicities and certain, I mean, themes appear every year in the actual formations, and I guess there's a certain amount of the teams feeding off of each other. But you know, I think there's been a lot of six-fold geometry this year, and certainly a lot of the early formations that appeared we were not responsible for, and they all had six-fold geometry, and they had very similar geometries to the stuff that we'd been working on over the winter. So yeah, there is a certain amount of synchronicity, kind of cosmic coincidence.